not doing a new lobby, are
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. So we are live. Yeah, the lobby is up.
they? Oh boy.
Yeah, oh boy indeed. So, slight delay as I think there's some lobby issues, but I don't know why everyone keeps leaving. I think there may be an issue with the lobby. Soon find out. Just double check. New lobby. Okay, so I'm gonna restart. The lobby, so it'll be another like 5 to 10 minutes wait. So why is that coming up now? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. So we are live. Yes, we'll be back in shortly. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Really sorry about the 25-minute wait, but had a lot of technical issues. We've had a lot of lobby issues. Well, I kind of destroyed the lobby in a way, but it doesn't matter now. We are live. We are in Abu Dhabi this week, the Yas Marina circuit, the UAE, 5.28 kilometers, 3.28 miles, 16 turns, 2 DRS zones, and today we have 2 broadcasters, one British, one American, so we're combining. Seb, how are we doing?
We're doing pretty good, you know, never forgetting that y'all blew a 13 colony lead, but we were excited to be commentating Abu Dhabi tonight.
Absolutely, we have 19 drivers. I swear we had 20 drivers earlier, but
Yeah, I don't know where one of them went. That's weird.
and also we have a Jordan Brown Haas, which
That's Duncan. I don't know why.
why is Duncan here?
That's a great question. Might
Um,
end up being the question of the night when he grabs pole. Maybe he was a bit too tired of getting gapped in Red Bull practice. I'm not quite sure.
Maybe he has been demoted to Division 4 Red Bull as he is not doing as good of a job he is doing
Yeah,
in D1.
I mean, personally, if I were his team principal, that would be the call I'd make. For
Absolutely.
sure.
But he's in the nice looking Haas for this week. I'm just going to quickly see if there's any lobby checks. Okay, looks like we're
Yeah,
staying.
and we're at the beautifully reprofiled Dhabi Dhabi tonight. The track has been updated in the game for this year. I think there were updates last year in real life, but we have those updates in the game, which should theoretically make the racer closing. A couple of corners are reprofiled, so the braking zones are longer into them, so cars can get alongside one another and try and go for those overtakes. So hopefully we'll see some good racing tonight. What are your predictions for the race, Freddie?
I think it's going to be an absolute show of death. I think everyone's going to be killing each other because this is, I mean, we had a practice last night. We did a community event last night, and there was a lot of people, well, that was not at the front, having a lot of incidents. Maybe it was setup wise, who knows, but yeah, a lot of incidents to be taken there. And this is D4, known to be apparently the mean division, but I disagree. I stick by with my Division 4 drivers with love, and I think Division 3 is the mean division this season.
Absolutely.
But
As a Division 3 driver and as a steward who sees the absolute lack of tickets we get from D4, this is definitely one of our cleanest divisions. So I think we'll see some good racing tonight. But the corners to watch out for are definitely the hairpin at turn 6 and 7 is very tight, and drivers are gonna have to be very careful to avoid incidents there. So we might see some people refusing to back out and having some incidents.
yeah, absolutely. The stewards did put out a steward release earlier, pointing out be careful in turn 6, turn 7, as people just don't like to brake, as it seems.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very tough braking zone just because of how narrow the track gets leading into it. But of course, that makes it very hard to fit 2 cars through there. And obviously, when 2 cars don't fit into one, things tend not to go well. I mean, we saw that last year in real life between Hamilton and Verstappen. They came together a couple times on this track, and you know, it didn't end up too well. So we could see repeats of that this weekend from any of the drivers.
Absolutely. So we have, oh, as Aero, what on earth has just happened to Aero? He just went inside and outside of the pit entry, but he spun. So I think that is a broken wing. It does look a bit damaged, but nevertheless, he is okay to drive. And we have K-Seb coming. No, we do not have K-Seb. We have Ben coming to the lines, just starting his lap. So we'll go on board with his teammate. K-Seb doing a 17.9. Apparently fastest sector 1, but I doubt that, as Christian Cummins has been. But we have a Red Bull 1-2 currently, followed by with a Josh Barnsley, Kaiser P3 with NBA P4. Saw the race last week, qualified at the back of the grid nearly, and covered in P2, I think he did.
Yeah. I think some other drivers to watch out for in this qualifying session are going to be people like Stars FPS, who maybe didn't show the most that they could last weekend, but I think have a lot of pace that people might not have been able to see yet. Who do you think's going to be taking pole position tonight, Freddie?
My guess is we will soon find out.
With- I feel like you're scared to make a prediction.
Honestly, it's got to be Mr. Jordan Brown Haas. It's got to be him. But yeah, I'm really confused with well, it should be Duncan. Like, it's his account, right?
Yeah, n- I'm honestly not sure what it is. There's definitely probably going to be some talk about that after the race tonight. Not sure if it's someone playing on his account. They have set a blistering 145 too, so not sure what's going on there because kind of close to what we'd expect from Duncan, but just not quite.
Unless he gave one of his mates that's recently joined the league his account, as he doesn't own F1, maybe.
Yeah,
And
I'm
just
not
we'll soon
not
find
really
out.
sure.
Um, Hopefully he has not gave up with the league. Yes, I've just had a detail that that is Duncan's friend who is driving.
Okay,
So, which
interesting.
I was told that not Notorious Jelly, who's in the McLaren, is supposed to be in a Haas. So
Oh,
I,
okay.
I think so. I mean, unless there's something else going on.
I
Um,
mean, it could be just things getting mixed up in the lobby. All of that should be fixed by the admins at the end, but it will make things confusing for us here in the commentary box for sure.
Absolutely. I'm trying to get on board with. Is it Siggy? It's Siggy going on and out that. We'll just go on board with him currently. So yeah, it is Duncan's buddy Jordan Brown.
Okay,
So
that's good to know. I was worried we were having a D1 driver coming in to make D4 a bit less interesting. So as we have Siggy starting a lap here, coming onto the pit straight, I think it's important to talk about what qualifying at Abu Dhabi is like. I think it's a really interesting track to qualify on because you have a lot of mid-speed corners, which I at least find in this game is a lot about how much you're willing to put on the table. You can push the car a lot in those medium-speed corners until you can, and I think it can be very hard to catch the car. So I think a lot of our positions in qualifying can really come down to how brave the drivers are willing to be on the throttle in those medium speed corners, and of course then you have those big traction zones for the long straights in the second sector here at Abu Dhabi. So getting those perfect exits can build you a lot of time, and of course getting a not great exit can take you or lose you a lot of time, which I think makes it a very interesting track to qualify at. You really have to get a lot right and put a lot on the table to get a good lap time here.
yeah, absolutely. So Siggy now finishing the end of sector 2, coming up to the second straight. 3 attempts up on
Yep.
his time, and he's currently in P7. So Siggy was one of those guys back in season 2, season 3, destroying Division 3, always being around Division 3, and he had a bit of a break playing the game. Don't blame him. And he comes back, and he does D4, and it's not been the way he wanted, but he's actually shown some decent pace of what division he's actually in. So he's coming to the line right now, currently P3, 2 attempts down on P2.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad time at all. I'm thinking we're going to be in the high 123s by the end of qualifying here. Um, if I had to guess, so a lot of these times on the board seem honestly a lot better than I was expecting for D3. I was thinking we'd end in kind of the mid 24s, and Christian Cummins has already thrown us into the low 24s. So it'll be really interesting
Absolutely.
to see if any drivers can challenge him for pole position here, because that is a very formidable time for a first lap for sure.
Yeah, so we've got a bit of a Kevon Magnussen currently in P10, running a wet setup. Just definitely did not listen to his engineer. Put in
What
the dry
engineer?
setup. What engineer? Myself.
I thought you were in here and not engineering.
I'm saying last week.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah,
at Brazil.
he
Yeah,
actually
not.
put a wet setup on last week, um, and definitely screwed up his race. But for what we had, it was a decent race pace. So he's definitely got a pace there. Um, Hopefully he does not have a wet setup this week, as UAE barely rains. I think it only rains like 2 times a year, not even that.
Yeah, I would be shocked if we saw any wet weather this weekend at any of our divisions for sure. But speaking of last weekend, just looking at the constructors standing, Haas is back in last place again, which isn't somewhere the team has been far from in the past couple of years. But they'll definitely be looking to make up some points to Williams with an 8-point deficit. So I think they can definitely get that up if they can get a good result in. And another team is Mercedes, who's down in P7 after last weekend in D4. That's not where Mercedes were expecting to be fighting come the beginning of this season. They were definitely hoping for something better, being in that fight between Red Bull and Ferrari, where honestly the team should be.
Absolutely. Um, if there was another team that I thought did really bad last week. Everyone's gonna hate me for it, but for what they should definitely be. Well, they are top two right now, but Red Bull. I don't know. I have a feeling this season I think this is gonna be the drop off. Um,
You think so?
I don't know. When the draft was happening, I felt like okay, there's definitely better picks of what he did pick in the end. And last week was definitely not a good week for them. And I've heard from some of the Red Bull team saying that their setup they are having this week is definitely not stable enough to keep them in the top 5 or probably the top 10. So
Yeah,
that'll be
and
interesting to see this week. And if they get another bad
they
result, that's another week. Um, it's another week they'll struggle with points. Go ahead.
Yeah, because Red Bull last week in Brazil also had stability issues. You saw, the prodigal son of Red Bull, Hudson Poole in D1 even having problems with the stability on his setup. And I think that's something that's very underrated with the way people make setups in this game is, you can sit there and make it go as fast as possible in qualifying or for the first couple laps, but if you can't lean on it come the race and push it and predict what it's going to do, it can only get you so far.
So the Hockey's Rolly coming out down to turn 16, he has a great exit and then comes to the line 24/7, pits in P6, and
Yeah,
he's another guy that's shown great pace.
which is really surprising. I think Hokage has been one of the breakout drivers in D4. I mean, I think to be honest, last season we saw him kind of struggle. I'm not sure if it was with these new cars or just because of how competitive D4 was at the time. But he's come in and he's been able to put in some top 10 pace, which I think shows really impressive improvement, and was definitely a surprisingly good pick for Aston Martin.
Absolutely, I mean, he did DNF. Sorry, I keep getting the hiccups. He did DNF last week, but when I was in a call with the team principal, Joel Gurren, he was saying he's really surprised with Cargate Roldy's pace.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's something you really like to see is you don't like to see drivers kind of stuck at the back and stuck there. If they can get up and at least compete in a couple races and
Ooh,
show a genuine turn of form, I think that's not only good for the drivers themselves, but just something we like to see and add a bit more jeopardy. D4 we saw a season that at least for the first half was pretty dominating. I think seeing people that can move in and try and challenge for those results is a really great thing, and pushes everyone to improve, really.
absolutely. So we've got Mr. Jordan Brown, a ZRL debut for him, coming to the line, starting a lap, coming down to turn 1. Really tight corner for the exit, I'd say. It was goes in fourth, short shifts to fifth, backs out of turn 2 and kind of turn 3. He has an Alpine in away in his left side. He's 7 seconds up, so that is definitely improvement.
Yeah,
I'm
for
coming down to
sure.
the hairpin. Got the long
He's coming
straight.
down this long straight now, so I'm not sure how good his exit was, but it'll be hoping it's good as he comes into the turn 6 and 7 hairpin, which is very tight, and getting a good line through here so you can get a good exit onto the final straight here is very important. He seems to keep it clean. That looked like actually a very excellent line for someone who doesn't even own the game.
Yeah, I think I actually saw him go into neutral one time, but it does not matter. He is 12 seconds up. This is an improvement. That's all we can say.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think with the new drivers coming into this game, you kind of see that big build up in the beginning as you just start to get a feel for it, because it's definitely a unique driving experience to put it nicely.
And I think this is going to be pole position, I'm not going to lie. Damn,
It's
P18. Damn.
P18.
So that,
Um, only like 2 seconds off, which honestly, given the deficit before, is a good lap. Another driver who will be looking to improve is Stars FPS on his outlap now. He's down in 19. A 131 looks like some kind of mistake would have been made on his first lap, but he'll be looking to show a bit more pace than he is right now.
absolutely. I'm just watching Aero, your Division 4 teammate. He's P17 right now, really not good quality for him, but he's now coming down to the last few turns, and Ben is disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Don't know what
And that's
happened
a
there.
Red Bull around.
That is 2.5 seconds gained on Aero, but that only puts him P12 until Ben got
Yeah,
disqualified.
which is very unfortunate for Ben, but of course that moves up the rest of the field, so they'll be happy for that. I'm honestly not sure what happened there and why he got pegged for blocking the pit lane. I've never seen anything like that here.
Absolutely. So let's go on board. Leo Hudson possibly blocking Okage Roldy. We'll see what his time is in Sector 1.
It looks like Leo Hudson's retired, so that's actually his AI driving the track right now.
Yeah, so that's done for Leo Hudson, but it did look like he did block the Aston Martin a little bit. So that is it for him. Pelon going P4, great lap from him. And Christian Cummins, who I said earlier, saying he's not a one pick for the E4, could prove me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he's thrown up a very formidable time on this track.
Oh,
His NVA takes pole position by 21 hundredths.
yeah, but I don't think that's going to be enough as Christian is coming down to the line, full on the gas, and that is it, 24.1, great lap from
That's a
him.
great improvement.
But we do have Josh Barnsley coming down to turn 16 as well. We'll see what he's doing. He's 1/10 out of his time, that will be done for him. Kevin Magnussen, P6 right now, I think he's aborted his lap. Yeah, he's definitely aborted his lap, so
But first is Hokage coming across the line. See what he can do.
P6.
P6.
Really strong performance for the Aston boys. Even better for the Red Bull team. A lot of improvement needs to be done for the Mercedes drivers. This is your top 18.
Yeah. But you know, I think these Mercedes drivers will be able to show a bit more race pace than they are raw quali pace, which, you know, if you can make up those positions, still doesn't count you out as a really solid driver. And fixing that quali time isn't the largest task, especially if you can get on well in the race.
Yeah, so Kevin Magnussen going fuming in the chat right now saying, what the heck, Leo Hudson, maybe they had a collision. Ethan Patel, his engineer, just backing Hudson up right now. He spun in the most unfortunate place. Then retires on track, which we do not allow. So it can be reported if they want to, which is my Haas team, so I kind of want it to be reported. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what kind of decision the stewards come to when they have all the evidence. But of course, the standard there is that you're still liable for anything your retired car does. But now we have our finishing order in qualifying. On pole position, Kristen Cummins in the Red Bull, followed by NVA, then Leo Hudson. So a 1-3 for Red Bull, a very respectable result for them in qualifying here. Then Keisler and Pylon and Hokage, 5 and 6 for Aston Martin, a strong result for the team there. Then Kevin Magnussen, Siggy, Stars FPS, Gibbs, Aaron Green, Notorious Jelly, Arrow and K-Seb, Big Ailbro, so both Mercedes in the back, and I spent too much time talking, so we've missed the last few drivers, so that's my apology.
Yeah, absolutely. So the race is going to be underway. The crowd are absolutely hyped, as you can see. The F1 Paddock Club. We have Mr. Josh Butler, Mr. Rivas himself. As you can see, he's going absolute mental in the crowd right now in that green, forest green top, clapping the boys
Yeah,
in Mercedes.
and right now the teams will be deciding whether or not um they'll be fitting the hard or medium tires, so it'll be very interesting to see. Of course, the hard tires will give them a disadvantage in the beginning, but being on those mediums in the end can give you a lot of pace as the race is going to be getting underway now. A very short run into turn one.
So we've got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. There is no formation lap this week, and we are out and away we go. Hopefully, no crossplay issues this week. But MVA getting a better start, but then Christian Cummins getting a better inch exit.
And a little bit of contact there between the Red Bulls on the start there at a turn one. Leo Hudson
Absolutely.
just tapping Christian Cummins a little bit.
Oh,
Got away brilliantly.
there is big contact in the back. We have Aaron Green and Stars FPS. Stars getting unlucky once again in his race, and looks like there's something going on in the hairpin. We have Hokage Roldy getting the position back on Kevin Magnussen, and sorry, but is that Christian Cummins already putting like a second gap? Looks like
Yeah,
indeed.
that's incredible pace.
And we just saw Palon cutting the corner, not cutting, but I don't think he realised Siggy was trying to make the move. Siggy loses out on P5. There's a train going right now, as expected. Aero once again having a mental start up in P9. There is no, I can't say the name. I'm just going to call him Jelly.
Notorious Jelly.
Yeah, it's Jelly who's spun.
Yeah, an awful start for McLaren here.
Yeah, McLaren getting a really good week, point wise. Last week, maybe not this week.
I mean, we'll see. It's only D4, so it's too early to tell now.
It's a VSC.
That's a safety car.
VSC. Oh, there is some. Oh, what is going on there? Some Delta bugs, looks like. MVA is slowing down, which made Pelon have to put on the brakes really late. So we'll see what tyres everyone is on.
Yeah, only a couple drivers opting for the medium tire, which is very interesting. Both Mercedes drivers starting, and both Haas drivers on the medium tires. So those teams thinking they have a better strategy than everyone else on the field. So it'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out for them.
Absolutely, Ben Pittin already, not good start for him either. It looks like we're going to nearly about to go green, possibly. We can't tell, so we'll just see what happens. And yeah, everyone's going full flashing. Aaron Green getting a VSC. VSC, a drive-through penalty. So That's really unlucky for him. And Kevin Magnussen shot down to P9.
Yeah, I mean, the safety car started in a, or the safety car restarted in a very interesting spot on that long back straight. So that meant that like your reaction time and how well you manage your delta could really net you positions. We saw Arrow overtake two cars, Hokage Rolde and Kevin Magnussen. As DRS gets enabled here as we finish the second lap, so hopefully we won't start to see trains forming, but personally I feel like following is very difficult around this track.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like the Haas driver is really struggling to get past Hokage Roldy. We have Aero that's just on a different level at the moment, currently in P7.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a massive tire delta at this track, so starting on the mediums is giving him a serious pace advantage. He's just gonna have to try and clear these cars running the hard tires so we can get the most out of those mediums. Of course, if you're stuck behind people running the hard tires, you don't get to extract that delta and get a bit more tire wear, which can really hurt your strategy. So he'll be hoping to clear as soon as he can, as Leo Hudson in the front on the medium tires overtakes Christian Cummins. Not sure if that's a bit of team play here, as they're on different strategies, or a genuine overtake, but either way, he will be leading this Grand Prix as Pylon in P3 moves up, overtaking NBA. Definitely not teamwork there, as the Aston Martin driver gets past the Ferrari and
That was a
is
great
leading the
move.
train we have.
That was such a great move by Pelon there. It all started down that hairpin at the second DRS straight.
Yeah, and the run from turn 9 up to 10 and into the 12 braking zone requires a lot of trust from the other drivers, so good on NVA for keeping it clean. The dimensions of the track kind of seem to move around a bit there, so keeping it clean is very important. But as we're coming into the fourth lap, both Red Bull drivers have a 2-second gap over the rest of the field, so looks like Red Bull might have fixed their setup woes that they had in practice earlier in the week.
Yeah, we will soon find out. So NBA just dropping out of the DRS zone of Pelon, but he does get DRS for this straight. And do we see Kaiser making a move? He's got the slipstream and he is gaining, but
Very
is he going
close.
to gain enough?
He tries to come alongside, but he goes for the outside, and NBA covers off very well, and he's just kind of stuck behind into that hairpin. As Ben in the back grabs the fastest lap, so Ben
Oh
showing his
no!
medium. Oh, Hokage and Magnussen must have come together back there.
That looked like an arrow. That looked like arrow. I don't know. Arrow looks like he took both of them out as I switched on with him. I can't really tell as I did just get on with him, and it looks like some of them were ghosted. So
I mean,
yeah,
either way, Kevin Magnussen and Hokage, two drivers that showed serious pace in
oh
qualifying,
no,
are
and
now
just
at
cut.
15 and 16.
Oh, Josh Bunzi has done a Latifi.
Oh, well, I guess the silver lining with that is he won't be winning any championships this early into the season, but
And Buffalo Trace has spun as well.
we're just seeing drivers drop like flies now, and this is what I was talking about in qualifying with some of these corners really about how much you're willing to put on the table, and of course in the race, if you put too much on the table table can collapse on you.
Absolutely, and Pelon is catching up with Christian Cummins.
He's closed that gap by about a second over just a lap, I believe.
NBA just dropping out of that zone, and Big Elbow is going to get maybe potentially moved on Stars. Stars has
And
literally no battery.
yeah, but Stars has done very well to make up positions here, getting past Elbro, and of course Arrow up into P5, battling Siggy through 6 and 7. Some really solid racing there by the looks of it.
It
But
looks like
Siggy's gonna try
C
and look if he can come back at him into turn 9.
Arrow just
Arrow
closes it.
manages to keep ahead. Honestly, it looked like Siggy decided he just didn't have the pace advantage to make that move, and he backed off a little, which, very smart driving and the kind of thing that you like to see. And I think a lot of these D4 drivers just off racecraft, if they can just find a little, an extra tenth or two a lap, can really justify a move up to D3 next season. But Williams is getting on brilliantly in D4 right now. you know, they're ninth in the D4 constructors right now, but running sixth and seventh would be a great result for them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a battle going up with Kasib and Bebry. Two, two people in two different tyres, so Bebry would be trying to pull away.
As the Alpha Tauri of Gibbs goes super wide and then it just loses grip over all those curbs there, just tried to give it a bit too much and it looked like he went into the wall, but I'm not seeing any damage visibly. We'll see if he boxes this lap.
So Siggy's still in the back of Aero. Maybe Aero's tyres are starting to go off a little bit. Siggy got a great exit, better than Aero, and he's got the DRS, he's got a slipstream. Will he have enough? Aero using his battery. Will they go side by
Yeah,
side? No, Aero blocks it off once again. Good defending.
yeah. Aaron's doing a very good job of closing the door on Siggy here. Following and the DRS is just so strong on this track. The two straights at the back is just DRS after DRS, so it really gives you a long time to make that run. And when you're that on the gearbox and at the slipstream, Arrow has a very tough job
Oh no.
defending here, and of course he still has to try and close that gap to NVA in fourth.
Yeah, Bebry going a little bit wide through turn 14. He keeps a P7 spot, goes wide again. Oh, he goes wide again. That's 3 times in a row, and he's still. Oh no, and Kasib as well. That was
Yeah, the
commentator's
grip
curse.
out of the final turn can get really rough, so drivers need to be mindful of just avoiding that little bit of wheel spin that can send them flying right into the wall against the pit lane. And of course, the most unfortunate part about that is that you have to drive the entire lap with possibly damage before you can come into the box to get it repaired.
Absolutely not a good show for Alpine once again in D4. As Buffalo Trace spun once again. Coming out of a pit exit, looks like. Kaiser getting the fastest lap currently. But we have a Haas that's already lapped in 7 laps, so it's unlucky for him. But Siggy is making the move on Aero. They are going side by side. Aero once again going defensive.
Arrow's just able to lean on those medium tires to
Ooh.
let it break that little bit closer, but Siggy comes alongside. Looks like there was a bit of contact there.
Yeah,
But again,
Siggy doing the sportsmanship and letting Aero have a position once again. So this battle is getting heated.
it is, but you know, brilliant driving from both the drivers, and Arrow's really able to lean on those medium tires and just brake later than Siggy, which I think more than anything is showing obviously Arrow's skill, but also the insane tire delta we're seeing here. Those medium tires just have infinitely more grip.
Yeah, that 1.4 second gap is staying with Christian Cummins and Pelon, but Pelon is definitely using more battery than Christian right now. But Christian does have DRS after that lapsed car is not getting out of the way.
Yeah, possibly doesn't know as he's a new driver, but that's very unfortunate for Pylon, who's probably burning battery just to try and keep that gas as Christian, or gap as Christian has that gap.
Yeah, Siggy has finally made a move done on Aero. Aero looked like he hit Siggy a little bit. Siggy's getting a better exit through that corner every single time.
Yeah, but Arrow is the DRS now, so he might be able to come back at him or at least keep that gas closed. But the problem for Arrow here is that he's now stuck behind someone running the hard tire, and really he needs to be clearing these drivers and working on that gap to NVA, which has grown by 2 seconds as Siggy and Arrow were fighting.
Bebry and Big Elbow getting a little bit side by sidey through that hairpin once again, and I think Big Elbow just made a move on Bebry. It was a really nice move as Jelly tried to do the same thing. Bebry denies that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, tough battling in this train here is... Oh, Bebry gets a little bit loose. He's going to lose out positions to a lot of cars here. But he did very well to catch the car, but he looks like he might be at the back of this pack now.
Yeah, he just doesn't look like he's got the race pace compared to the others right now.
Yeah, but speaking of race pace, both McLaren drivers and both Mercedes drivers up in 6 through 9 after both almost qualifying last in the grid.
Absolutely. So Hokage rolling, maybe potentially making the move on Gibbs.
I know Kage's doing a brilliant job here to climb his way back up the field on those hard tires.
Absolutely. But after he gets to P7, he's got a long way away from Aero.
He does, but given he started in P6 and spun out, if he can make it to P7, that'd be a very respectable result before the pit stop phase, which I think we might see the earliest pit stops here around lap 15. Maybe 14 for some medium tire runners.
Absolutely. So Kevin Magnussen getting the move done on Case, a really nice move through the turn 6, turn 7 part. Leo Hudson still making that gap extend, but
But that
soon,
gap
yeah.
has slowed down to Christian Cummins, so maybe those hard tires are starting to come into their own.
Did I just see Pelon cut the track? Potentially not.
It's possible, but he hasn't received a penalty yet. Swift, so he hasn't done it 3 times.
I think that's a track map issue. It's just every time I'm looking at it, it looks like they're cutting a corner. Oh well.
Yeah, the map can be a bit rough here.
Never realised that, but Hokage Rolly up in that DRS train, he's showing really good pace right now. Big Elbow with no DRS, it seems like, on the McLaren driver.
No, and that's not what he needs because, you know, out of this hairpin, Hokage is going to have DRS again, and he's right behind Big Elbro. And of course, that tire advantage doesn't really help you once you get into these straights where you're having to lean on the car's top speed. Hokage hitting the battery and having the rear ring open into turn 9. He's going on the inside of the little hairpin here, and he's ahead of Big Elbro on the exit. Big Elbro will be hoping that he can come back in turn 10 and 11 with the superior medium grip, but he's just too far back to try and fight back at Hokage. So it looks like Hokage is going to keep that position as we go through 12 and 13 here, and Hokage is going to see if he can close the gap to the 2 McLarens ahead of him.
Absolutely. So Aero is now still just ahead of, just behind Siggy. Right now, he's trying to get into that DRS. Siggy got less battery than.
Oh, and that's Hokage around again at the final turn. February's going to overtake him and he'll be right behind, so...
I don't know if he's got damage. Doesn't look like he does.
None that we can see here.
Oh, there's a safety car.
We're not sure what's caused that.
I think it's that Haas driver. Oh, he's got no wing.
Yeah, looks like it. No wing.
That does explain why there is a safety car coming out. So, oh, there is something going on, potentially.
Yeah. This is a very interesting time for the safety car to come out. Personally, I think it's too early to make any full pit stops, but the teams will be scrambling to figure out what to do. Of course, anyone on the hard tires is going to have a really awful time on the restart here. Those mediums should still give you a little bit of extra grip on the start and definitely keep more temperature.
Well, Leo Hudson nearly pitting in the wall. But do you not think that gap's increased too much? It's now gone down a little bit, but okay. Yeah, Christian pitting for the mediums, he would definitely not last. That would definitely not last.
No, not unless we see a couple other safety cars, and Red Bull doing the double stack here, which should slow Christian down. Leo Hudson stayed in there for a long time. He must have been changing the front wing.
He's ahead of everyone, so that's a good thing. But that could potentially be. I think that could have been a double stack, you know, for the Red Bulls. But I don't think.
I mean, it's definitely hurt him because Christian, who came in behind, is now down in P6, so he's seriously lost out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think with that Red Bull, I feel like Leo. No, sorry, Christian slowed down purposely to get that double stack complete. Which...
Yeah, but then Leo stayed in. Maybe he didn't realize they were changing the front wing, but he was just sitting there for a very long time. So if you ask me, that seems like a very big mistake from Red Bull.
They have both pitted, but yeah, Christian has came in, and I think Duncan will be engineering Christian this tonight like he did last week. So I don't know what happened there, but hopefully there was no purposely making the delta massive.
No, and if so, I doubt Duncan would be very happy about that. But um, interesting decisions from drivers like NVA and Christian Cummins to pit onto the medium tires, of course. It might be what they have to do on the restart here, because pitting onto those hards is not going to give you a lot of temperature on the restart. But I think if the drivers are gentle, and this safety car lasts another lap or two, drivers might be able to make it to the end if they're nursing those hard tires. And of course, if we see a late safety car here, which might be possible with how much we've been seeing drivers spin out, that that pitting onto the soft tires at the end for a late safety car could be a viable strategy for them. But I don't think we exist in a world where these medium tires are going to make it to the end. I'm not sure what you think, Freddie.
Yeah, I don't think those medium tires will last to the end unless there's another safety car.
And it looks like the top 9 have made it behind the safety car, but still waiting on a bunch of drivers behind them somewhere in the pits
I think there's a.
to
I
make it up to
think
the keel.
I don't know what's going on, but Kevin Magnussen's going really slow through the corners. Looks like he may have a glitch with the safety car with Delta.
Maybe, or he's trying his best to save his tires, but of course, not sure how sportsmanship like going excessively slow is. Not implying that he is going excessively slow, I'm really not sure, but I'd be surprised if we saw the safety car in this lap with how far behind drivers like Buffalo and Jordan Brown are. Jordan Brown, not Duncan, to be very clear.
Hmm. So we still have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that would need to pit again. Well, we'll have to pit anyway. But we have quite a few people out on the mediums trying to make it last. Potentially could, potentially won't. We'll soon find out. It will be around a crossover.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I predicted that pitting for the hards might not have even been a great idea, but to be honest, the safety car should be ending maybe
Oh no,
4
her
laps
cargo
before.
already's gone down.
Yeah, and spinning under the safety car is probably the last thing you want to do for your reputation. Um, but as I was saying, they're going to be ending the safety car period maybe 3-4 laps before their pit window, and the problem for people who didn't pit is they're finally going to get their tires up to their full temperature, and you're going to be coming into the pits, so you're going to be losing a bit of lap time there for sure. But obviously it'll all come down to the end, and that's not what we're really sure about. That tire advantage on the end could matter a lot for those drivers who have not pitted yet. Leo Hudson's falling down the order. Unable
Ooh.
to see what happened to him. He's going slowly. Looks like he must have had a moment, but not what Red Bull wanted to see. A couple drivers losing it under the safety car here, as one of the McLarens goes in incredibly slow and gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags.
Right, so there's something going on. I think Lewis Hudson span him. Something is definitely going on with these two.
Yeah, and now the McLaren's picked up a 5-second penalty as a result, as race control comes in and says safety car will be coming in this lap. So hopefully the drivers will have their tires up to temperature as we come in for the safety car restart. Pylon leading.
And Bebry is now spinning.
The worst time to spin.
Absolutely, I wonder if he has damage. Oh, he's still stopped on track. Don't know what happened there, but we move.
Yeah, and the good news for Pylon here is they're moving to the pit straight is that the 2 cars behind him are also on old hards. That'll give him a bit of buffer to NVA and Christian Cummins on brand new mediums who should have a serious pace advantage on this safety car restart. Pylon will just want to be hanging on until he comes into the pits. But we're moving to the final corner now. Drivers are not meant to be side by side on the safety car restart, so we'll see him go one by one as Pylon comes around the final corner. Siggy behind. Pylon gets the field going. Siggy's right behind him.
And there's an incident.
Stars FPS has fallen back a little bit, but NVA is not close to Stars, so that'll give Stars a little bit of time to warm up his tires. And a 5-second penalty for Jordan Brown as he comes into the pits, and looks like Okage's losing a position in the back, but Pylon's kept it in the lead on the start, and Stars FPS is now coming under a little pressure from NVA, but NVA has not been able to clear him.
And Christian Cummins is around.
So both Red Bull drivers have now spun. Christian Cummins losing a serious amount of positions here, down in P15 from P6.
Pelon's still in the lead with a 9 tenths gap. I'm trying to see if that Christian Cummins car has got any damage at all. Not sure if it does. Okay, there's another incident.
Looks like he's lost a couple positions. He must be around as he's ghosted. But interestingly enough, the old hard tire runners, excuse me, have held on far more than we really thought they would.
Absolutely.
Pylon and Siggy have broken DRS from NVA. And Pylon's close to breaking that DRS from Siggy. He should have another lap without DRS, so if he can build up that gap, he'll be in a very good position. Of course, both of them have extended quite a bit of their battery, but it's probably worth it if they can just hang on until they come into the pits.
And there's another Red Bull around. It's Christian Cummins again.
Again. A disaster on the safety car restart for Red Bull. Duncan might be regretting giving his friend his account.
Pelon's still P1. NVA is now in the back of Siggy, and Aero just currently pushing behind Leo Hudson, making a move on Stars as he's got refresher tyres. Stars still has to pit.
Yeah, but NVA is putting some pressure on Siggy here in the turn 6, but he just shouldn't have the run going in. He pulls back behind him, but we might see him making a move into turn 9. He keeps it very close at a turn 7. He's gonna have the slipstream from Siggy. Oh yeah, he's already pulling around on the outside, and they're barely coming up to turn 9 now, so NVA's ahead, but he's gonna be going around the outside as both cars come very close together, and NVA and Siggy make contact. NVA's rear tires just hitting the outside ones of Siggy, and Siggy's fallen behind, but that incident will definitely be ticketed after the race and could result in a penalty.
I thought Siggy may have understeered into that corner, but I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. From what I saw, it looks like Siggy kept it very tight to the apex, which means, I mean, it didn't seem like there was anywhere else for him to go, but of course, the stewards will review all evidence and make a decision on it, but either driver could receive a penalty at the end of the race.
Absolutely.
As of course, Siggy will be hoping he doesn't come under pressure from Aero, who's on new hards. It'd be very unfortunate. Of course, Aero should have a bit of a pace advantage, but Siggy will hope to hang on before he pits, which should be very soon. But of course, the field probably hasn't spread out as much as these drivers would want them to, as there's a big train. He might even come out behind Big Elbro in P12, which would not be a great result. They'll have to be praying for drivers behind them having to pit again.
So yeah, NBA may be making a move onto the second straight. And those fresh mediums are just working out in favour so much. And there's an incident going on with Leo Hudson and Aero, but we've got to go back on board with NVA as he's going to make the move.
NVA making the same move he made on Siggy around the outside. Looks like no contact this time, but NVA just has way more grip than Pylon and is able to make the move. But Pylon should be pitting here soon, and he might do it this lap to get into the clean air. We'll have to see. As yellow flags are out and there's a safety car, Pylon is definitely going to be coming in this lap. Hokage's around, and there's a safety car at Hokage's, of course, now only gotten moving. He has no front wings, so must have had a bit of an incident there, but we're going to be watching anyone who did not pit before. Yeah, Pylon's coming in. Siggy should follow him. So this has worked out wonderfully for the people who didn't pit for new hards or mediums.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, uh, yeah, so 5 people have now boxed. So this has worked out for a treat.
Yeah, and of course, anyone who was on the hards, which should be most of the drivers by this point, they're gonna have extra laps to keep their tires uh, uh, even nicer, which is gonna give them a massive advantage in the rest of the race on anyone who's pitted before.
So Pelon just coming out ahead of Kevin Magnussen, but he's going to have a... oh, Pelon moving on a braking a little bit. Trying to close that gap on Kevin Magnussen, but he gets some... It's still going side by side. Kevin Magnussen has the DRS zone, but he's not getting much time on Pelon.
And Palin's gonna be on superior tires, but Kevin Magnussen just dives in, but Pylon does well to switch him back, and that should give him a better exit with that line into the back straight out of turn 7.
Absolutely. So a really good move for Pelon. So let's go back on board up at the front.
Yeah, Leo Hudson is right on the gearbox of Arrow here. He'll be looking to make a move, of course. Both drivers on equal tires, but they also need to be careful because Notorious Jelly on medium tires is going to have a delta over them, is right behind them. And he could be very opportune as he's trying to put Leo Hudson under pressure. He thinks about making a move, but thinks better of it as they go into turn 1. As yellow flags are out in Sector 2, looks like an Aston Martin again. Of Hokage, no damage that I can see, but still Hokage's really not having a good time despite showing some great pace this weekend. As Notorious Jelly tries to make the move on Hudson, he's gonna give it a bit wider on that straight leading up to turn 6, which, yeah, gave him better traction. He's also putting Arrow under pressure, who could get overtaken here. Arrow on the inside line. Who can break later into this corner? Notorious Jelly looks like, can't tell if he pushed Arrow out of the way, but he's made an overtake on both drivers, and he's ahead, and will start trying to put NVA under pressure. The only thing to notice that Notorious Jelly is absolutely no battery.
Yeah, but he does have the grip though over Aero. Buffalo Trace losing a few positions through turn 6.
He does, and Arrow will really just need to decide now if it's worth trying to fight Notorious Jelly with Leo Hudson behind. Of course, any incidents Leo could immediately take advantage of, but also, if Arrow can keep that gap, then Notorious Jelly would be a great shout for just dragging him along and giving him DRS to keep Hudson behind. As yellow flags were out in Sector 3 very shortly.
It looked like Big Elbow maybe had a moment through turn 13. Currently in P7, really good result if Mercedes can have this.
Yeah, just going back and looking at positions gained, Big Elbro is made up 8 positions, and Arrow's made up 10. Notorious Jelly is also made up 10, and Ben is made up 13 from the start. So, you know, we've seen some drivers really show that they have some really incredible race pace, and above all are able to keep it clean, which some of the drivers who showed some great pace have not been able to say the same.
Leo Hudson getting a bit scranny around turn 6, trying to put the power down.
And we've been in the fight for P5, coming into turn 9, trying to make the moves on Gibbs. Go around the outside, he makes it stick on the hard tires.
I think those medium tyres don't really last around here that long. I don't think...
I mean, they should still be giving better grips, so I think that just looked like some incredible driving from Ben. Yellow flags are out in Sector 2. Looks like it's Hokage again, so really just not having a good time. And at this point, he might need to think about just making sure he gets the car across the finishing line on lap 29.
Absolutely. His Pelon's going to be right at the back of Big Elbow right now, as I say. He's not got as much battery as Big Elbow, but I don't think Big Elbow will be fighting this position too hard.
No, if he knows what he's doing, he won't be, because obviously Pylon was leading this Grand Prix, but it's also on significantly newer tires, and is a compound down, so he's just going to have way better grip. He pulls ahead before the braking zone, and there's no way Pylon won't be able to brake far later than Big Elbro. As he does, but of course, Big Elbro coming out of turn 7 will benefit from some DRS here, which, if nothing else, will help him close the gap up to Gibbs and Ben ahead of him, who he'll be looking to get up to, see if he can't make maybe P5 by the end of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron Green making a position on Kevin Magnussen's. At Alfa Romeo, it looked like he was making a position on the Haas driver that could not succeed. Leo Hudson on the back of Aero now.
Yeah, of course, both drivers on equal tires here, so really a battle of skill. No DRS on the main straight here, but coming into the straights at a turn 5, which they'll be coming up to soon. Leo
Gibbs is
Hudson should have
pitting.
DRS on Aero.
But Gibbs has done the
And
two-stop.
the Alpha Tauri pit crew are changing the front wing there, so it looks like that must have been damaged, but Gibbs is going to be on very nice medium tires, so Gibbs will just have to hope that he's not going to see another safety car before the end of this Grand Prix, or he could be seriously losing out there. More than he already has.
Leo Hudson trying to make the move on Aero through turn 7, and Aero defended really nicely tonight. But
Yeah,
I
but
think he's
coming up
going
to
to
turn 9,
give it
Leo
up.
Hudson moves to the right side, trying to go around the outside.
Really good move. It's Mercedes, the Red Bull once again back in season 4. And they're not going to give this position up, and there is contact.
There is contact. It was very hard to tell who
And
was at fault from our angle, but
Leo Hudson has reset to track, so I'm sure someone will ticket that.
yeah, and that's kind of a layup, especially if we caught it in 4K on the broadcast. Really all the evidence in the world.
Ooh, and Leo Hudson is now pitting. He's missed the pit spot, and he's got to go. He's missed the pit spot, and I think he may have damage after that incident.
That is incredibly unfortunate. Of course, he's ended up behind Big Elbro, and looks like Leo Hudson just made contact with Siggy, so that could be another ticket for Hudson.
Yeah, Leo Hudson going slow, and I wonder if he's going to fight this.
It's
No.
probably in his best interest to not to. It looks like he didn't fight his teammate too hard.
Could this be another week where Red Bull have an absolute stinker? He's got that slipstream off from Siggy, and Siggy is in no man's land, but he does not give up. He definitely fights back. They're going side by side. Leo Hudson definitely giving him the room. He goes a little bit wide, but he does get the position.
Yeah, they're fighting here, and both Red Bull drivers behind Big Elbro is DRS. Christian Cummins pulls ahead into turn 9 on those medium tires, obviously showing that they still have a bit more grip, but of course a Big Elbro can keep it right behind, and this will give him DRS to defend from Siggy and Leo Hudson behind. But Siggy is on significantly newer tires, only 5 laps old, which should give him a serious advantage.
Oh no, that is Pelon at a span.
Oh no, that's awful.
That is definitely awful.
Good news for Pylon is, as long as he doesn't have any damage, he's still going to be behind this train, and he's running in the top 10. He doesn't come into the pit, so obviously not significant enough damage to come in if there is any.
But neither does Leo Hudson.
Stars FPS looks like he just made up 2 positions in the turn 1 there.
And Pelon is going to go down on the inside of Big Elbro, and Big Elbro conceding that position.
Yeah, and I think that was the right play from Big Elbro. He needs to keep in mind that Pylon just has significantly superior tires to him.
Absolutely. And Pelon looked like he was going to go for a move, but let's just go on board with Aero and Ben. Where has Ben came from?
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't been keeping track of that one, but at a turn 7, they were incredibly close. And of course, Ben is the rear wing open now, coming into turn 9. Really one of our favorite overtaking spots in D4 this weekend. Arrow manages to keep it ahead, just break a little bit later. And something very exciting about this is that Arrow is only on 1 lap older, harder tires, so a very even race here. And we could just see these two brawl it out to the end of the Grand Prix, about 5 laps left, as the lap car in front of them spins and does well to stay out of the way. But these two drivers are really going at it for a podium position here.
So while MBA is just flying off in the distance, a lot of battles happening. There's a bit of a DRS train around P7 to P9. Leo Hudson, you can tell he's got a broken wing. He's just going every corner. He's just going really slow. You can tell by just watching him.
Yeah, and he might be struggling on those tires having spun, but at this point, only 4 or 5 laps left in the Grand Prix. He's definitely better off just trying to hang on where he is instead of throwing something new on and fighting an uphill battle. Ben is fallen back from Arrow a bit here, but of course they're coming at a turn 7 where Ben is going to get the DRS and he's pulled right back behind through that chicane, so we might see him make another run on Arrow here in the turn 9.
Yeah, I've just watched Stars FPS and Leo Hudson fighting for the position right now. There is a
That's
yellow
another
flag.
Red Bull around.
It is indeed. Leo Hudson not giving the position up for P6. Going to be fighting back against Stars FPS. Pelon right in the back. And is that contact? Potentially.
If so, all the drivers have kept it going, but yeah, I mean, we're seeing a brilliant fight for the top 10 positions here as Pylon runs wide a little. Not sure if the Red Bull forced him there. It looked like there might have been a car's width, but either way, Pylon definitely ran wide, but I don't see him gaining any advantage there. As Ben has made the overtake on Arrow in the turn 1, but of course, what this means is that if Arrow can keep it behind, he's going to have DRS into the 2 zones, so he'll have overtaking opportunities into turn 6 and turn 9. Arrow's thinking about pulling out from behind Ben. He's on the inside of turn 6.
These two are just swapping the positions right up.
Yeah, but I think Ben has actually played this one very brilliantly, because what Arrow's done is basically conceded the DRS to Ben. So Ben is going to get that straight line speed advantage, and this might give him an opportunity to come back at Arrow in turn 9, but it doesn't. Arrow manages to keep it ahead, so smart racing from Arrow there. I was definitely in the wrong. And of course, I think being ahead in Sector 3 is incredibly important. Sector 3 is one of those places on the track where, because it isn't long straights and you don't have the slipstream advantage, it's kind of the only place you can really try to build that gap on the drivers behind you.
Absolutely. Just a bit of a battle up behind Christian Cummings, holding that P9 spot. The battle for P9 is getting a bit fired up.
Yeah, and of course, the battle for the positions through P5 is really incredibly close for where we were in the Grand Prix before.
Absolutely.
Pylon in P8 looks incredibly close behind Leo Hudson.
Makes a dive on
Yeah,
Leo
into
Hudson.
turn 5, making advantage of those incredibly fresh medium tires, but of course, Pylon really doesn't have any battery. The red light on the back flashing. Leo Hudson pulls behind Pylon, doing well to try and get the slipstream there. We'll see if he tries to dive out behind. Pylon does well to defend there, a bit of moving, so Red Bull might take a look at that. But Pylon maintains the position, and he's not going to
Leo
have
Hudson has
DRS
spun.
on Stars FPS. No, you hate to see it.
You do.
Red Bull's really struggling at the end of this Grand Prix, which is a shame. Of course, at the beginning we saw them gapping the rest of the field, so really interesting that they just kind of dropped off in consistency here now that they're in the back fighting.
So, so at the moment, Ferrari P1 even combined. So if they have a win today and a top 10 tonight, this will definitely help them out in the combined.
Oh, for sure. And I do want to mention we're on lap 28, so we're guaranteed to not see another safety car. As I pointed out at the ample time as Hokage had another incident and turn 7 a corner he's been having a lot of problems with this Grand Prix. Of course, I think our closest fight on track right now is once again Ben and Arrow. On the straight between turns 5 and 6. Ben probably isn't going to get close enough to make the move into turn 6, but we've been seeing Ben get incredibly close behind Arrow through the turn 6 and 7 chicanes, so he'll be seeing if he can't make a move into turn 9, as I feel like I'm a broken record as I keep saying that. Aaron's done well to keep it ahead there. It seems like Arrow's just managing this race really brilliantly.
Oh, and that's Leo Hudson, that's spun again. And that's going to put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, and I think that's something with the game is once you spin once, you really can't push for a couple laps or you're running a massive risk of doing it again. So something to point out here is Notorious Jelly picked up a 5-second penalty in the safety car period. We're unsure if that'll stick or not, but he might actually end up pulling that gap out from Arrow, who's having to defend from Ben.
Absolutely, we're just going to hop on board with him right now as this is the last lap, this is the last chance. As to make the move, and Ben getting really poor exit, as I was saying. Arrow's just going away from in the distance. Maybe there is another chance in the next straight.
Yeah, I mean, coming into turn 9, I think that's where we've seen the most overtakes tonight, is on the outside, which is honestly not where I thought we'd be seeing them. I thought we'd be seeing them in the turns 5 and 6, where you have those straight braking zones, but the drivers have been very brave on that hairpin. But Arrow's ahead into Sector 3, and at this point, if Arrow can just keep it clean, he should come out ahead of Ben here. And that'll mean that Arrow would have gained 10 positions throughout this Grand Prix, and Ben gained 15 from the start. So both of these drivers have just shown an incredible improvement through this Grand Prix, and should be very pleased with their results as they come through the final corner.
So I
and that
actually just
does
missed
promote
that.
Arrow and Ben to 2 and 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like Kevin Magnussen actually had a little bit of a spin, but if he sticks in this 5-second gap, then he goes really wide there. If he stays in this 5-second
Oh
gap,
no!
is
Big
that Big
Elbro
Elbow?
spun on the final straight. He's lost a position there. He's spinning the car around. He's gonna have to rush to try and keep it ahead of Leo Hudson. And of course, he had a 3-second penalty. It looks like no, he's dropped 2 positions because of that. I can imagine he will not be very happy about that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think this is the turn of form Mercedes wanted to see this weekend with a P2. Of course, McLaren might contest that 5-second penalty that Notorious Jelly has, but no guarantee that that'll change, and that should be the finish of this Grand Prix as Hokage comes to the line.
I also just want to point out that incident with Leo Hudson and Aero, so Aero could potentially be in a 5-second time penalty as well after that incident.
True.
So we'll speak to the drivers. Driver of the day is Ben, definitely my driver of the day. I don't know where he came from, but he did.
Yeah, I mean, 15 positions is insane.
Let's get these drivers in the call. Yeah.
see if we can't find some of these people downstairs. But I think that was a really good race.
Absolutely. We have Ben in the waiting room. We'll quick get him into the call. We can go
Hello,
to the
Ben.
interviews.
Hey, what's up, guys?
That was a incredibly impressive race. You made up 15 positions from quali. What was that like having to move through the field?
Oof, it was intense. Just really sweaty right now. But yeah, it was unfortunate. Lap one, I thought it was what was it? A warm-up lap. Uh, but I wasn't. It was like last turn when I realized the race was going.
I see. And do you just want to talk us through a bit of that intense battle you had with Arrow in the closing laps? You came out of nowhere and put him under massive pressure.
Yeah, it was an incredible fight with Arrow. I always respect him as a driver. He's very, very fun to battle against. But yeah, it was. I really wanted that P3, and then of course I got it with penalties. But yeah, he put up a really good fight. I enjoyed that really. Like, yeah.
Anything you'd like to ask, Freddie?
Not much. I mean, I was just reading the chat. That P3 could be taken away from you, as looks like that Jelly guy potentially getting his 5-second penalty away from you. But then once again, Aero had an incident, so maybe that P3 will stand. But we will soon find out.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I'm happy with P4 if that happens. You know, after starting P19.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but in the end, a really deserved result, I think, and some incredibly clean racing, which we always love to see.
Yeah. I'll try to keep it clean.
Right. And now let's bring Arrow in the booth, our P2.
Oh, I was talking to Ben.
Oh,
Well, now you're talking to us.
Uh,
That was a brilliant race, Arrow.
yeah, I needed the race to be good because the quality wasn't. But I managed to keep fighting with Ben, with Leo Hudson. I don't know if you saw it, but I don't know what happened. I think it's because of him, but I need to rewatch everything that happened. I apologize if it's because of me, but I truly don't think.
All right, and after making up 10 positions, you had an incredible fight with Ben that we really weren't expecting, but it was very intense. Y'all were fighting through the very final corners. What was that like to try and keep Ben behind for you?
It was really hard because at first, Dan, my engineer, told me like I didn't have to fight Ben, so I just didn't use the RS, and then I checked, and he pitted, so I was told to fight him, but he was like just behind me at that moment, so I fought him the way I could in the last 10 laps, and just one moment because I'm in Europe, I have a lot of problems with connection, and at the moment, I don't know if you saw it, but like I teleported behind, but I dive bombed, so I felt bad about it, and I gave him the position back. So I don't know if you saw it, but
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it was incredibly clean and respectful racing, I think, which, big ups to you for doing. But finally, I just want to ask, what was it like having to defend from Ben and try and keep that 5 seconds to
well, it was
Jelly?
the tires of Jelly were dead at the end because on the last 2 laps, same as NVA was 9 seconds ahead of me before the last 2 laps. At the end, he was 6 seconds ahead of me, and Notorious Jelly, it was the same. He was like 6 seconds, I think, and at the end we both passed him It was really hard, but I didn't use a lot of heroes fighting with Ben, so it was okay. It was a lot better last season. I tried to defend against him. I had dead tires and he had brand new, so it was really difficult. There it was way better for me.
All right, well, a great result, and thank you for the interview.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So, let's get the Division 4 race winner, Mr. MVA. What a performance you've had, my man.
Yeah, thanks. Big shout out to my engineers, Eruption and Nathan. They were a huge help.
Ethan?
No, Eruption.
Oh, I thought you said Ethan, and I was like, what?
He
Nah,
said
no,
Nathan.
Eruption.
Oh,
I
Nathan.
know you're
Yeah, Nathan.
you're British
Eruption.
ready, but you need to turn your ears on.
So, yeah, honestly, what was your tyres on at the end of the race? I was quite surprised you and the others didn't, I don't know, what's the word called?
Get
my
a
brain's-
puncture.
Puncture, yeah, my brain's just not
Yeah.
working.
They're about 60-65% depending on the tires. I mean, they're fucking dead, but I had enough kind of gap behind where I was coasting through a lot of Sector 3 and not really pushing them that hard. So it was
Yeah.
just a lot of tire management for that second stint more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you want to say, Seb? I'm just getting really tired now.
Well, yeah, we'll let you go here soon, but I guess I'm just interested. At the beginning of the race, we weren't really thinking of you as a contender for the race when we just saw Pylon's pace and those two Red Bulls pulling the gap at the beginning. But in the end, you really came through. And was that kind of going through your head the entire time, or were you just kind of managing your own race and seeing what happened?
I mean, you know, the top four kind of had a pretty strong breakaway, and I was falling off that. But the setup we were running is a lot better on tire wear, it seems, than everyone else. So I feel like that was really beneficial in that regards.
You wouldn't want to give us the sauce on the broadcast, would you?
It's like 50 front wings, 1 rear wing, something like that.
Okay,
Okay, so that's my setup for tomorrow.
thank God.
Yeah, don't do any research into it. Just trust me.
No, we never do practice at Mercedes.
That was 100% lie, but anyway, MVA, thank you for joining the booth. I don't know why I'm saying that, but that's a really good race win from you, and hopefully we can see you back on the back in the booth.
Yeah,
Hoping for many more. Thanks you guys for broadcasting.
No worries.
Yeah, and really good consistency and management. I think that goes a long way.
Alright, so that is it.
Yeah, that was the excellence we've come to expect from D4. But of course, tomorrow night we'll have D3 and D2 for lovely viewers.
Yeah, we will. I just had another blank out. Oh my god, I need some sleep. But yeah, that is D4 for you. Like Seb just said, tomorrow night we do have Division 3, 8 PM EST, followed up by Division 2, 10 PM EST. And then Division 1 Sunday night. I keep getting mixed up because of the time zones, but yeah, Sunday night 8 PM EST for D1. So hopefully. Oh, so do you want to just talk? My brain's just not working.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of